Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning. What is happening over there?
I'm waiting for you to rescind both the bets that we made.
Oh, no.
Yes. I made both bets under the contingency that Giannis was not playing. You said Giannis wasn't going to play yesterday. You said maybe game 3. Am I right about that?
I gave you 6 points.
I was stuck with Giannis. I told you I don't like this team without Giannis, so you need to forgive both bets.
No.
Forgive and rescind both bets. What did I tell you? That Brook Lopez has to guard DeAndre Ayton. Did he guard him last night? No,
Yeah,
Giannis guarded him the whole night. And what happened? That happened.
Right? Let's give this ain't nothing but old Dutini.
Yeah.
I know you don't drink anything, but they call them lemon drops at some places.
Yeah.
This old Dutini right here. This thing, you ought to try one time.
Well, so you still owe me 36 cases.
No, I'm down to 25.
Oh,
25.
I think that's Shannon math that we're doing now. Every time you win 2, it suddenly becomes you won 10.
But you should give me like 10 after I call my shot.
You didn't call your shot. Did Giannis play?
Yeah, he
Yes.
played.
Did I not call my shot that the Bucks are better in the postseason without Giannis? Did I not say that?
You did.
I started saying that last week. Am I correct, sir?
Well, Giannis,
Thank you.
Well, Giannis is going to play.
So both those are canceled.
No,
both are out. Yes,
You did
thank you.
say that.
You don't call
You
on
did
my
say
best,
that.
but I lose.
Well,
Shannon, how's
I'm
that martini
Vegas.
over there? Maybe
Yeah, that
I can get
Dutini
it
good,
later.
Jenny. You ought to try these one
Yeah.
time.
Dutini. All right, that's the way to start the show. Unfortunately, I guess for Skip, Giannis did give it a go on his knee last night, but that didn't stop the Suns from taking game 1 at home, 118-105. Giannis had 20 points in the loss, but it was Chris Paul who kept his momentum from the last round going, scoring a game-high 32 points and dishing out 9 assists. So, Shannon, while you're celebrating, what is the biggest reason the Suns won this one?
Well, Skip, I thought the Suns were ultra-aggressive, and their big 3 played extremely well. They were 20 of 20 from the foul line, the big 3. They gave you 81 points, almost 30 rebounds, so they were sensational. And in order for the Bucks to keep up, their big 3 is going to have to be sensational as well. DeAndre Ayton was a monster. I told you Brook Lopez was not going to be able to keep up with him.
he didn't guard him the whole game. Giannis guarded him the whole game. Go check it out.
But that's the defensive player of the year. You don't want the defensive player of the year guard?
I do not. He's not strong enough. He's not physical enough.
Brook Lopez is not fast enough.
Well, just maybe some night we'll get to see that. I don't know.
Well, you get to see it maybe Thursday night. But Skip, I thought, Chris, I did not expect to see closeout Chris in game 1.
I didn't either.
He was sensational.
He was.
After getting off to that slow start in the first quarter, he dropped 11 in the second and then 16 when he blew it open in the third quarter. And that basically, for all intents and purposes, really ended the game. Yeah, they tried to make another push, but the Suns were just too much. Now, I'm not going to put a whole, it's over. They're going to get swept in 4. I believe they're going to make adjustments. Giannis will be even more aggressive. Skip, when you come back off an injury, you want to make sure that thing is healthy. So you're a little tentative at first. And I thought as the game progressed, Giannis got a little bit more and more aggressive. Chris Middleton played well. I thought Giannis played well, given he's off for a week. Yeah. But they need Holiday to come along. Skip, 4 of 14 is not going to be good enough. 0 for 4 for 3 is not going to be good enough. The big 3 from the Bucks are going to have to be equally as impressive as the big 3 from the Suns. If they don't get that. But the Suns, Skip, they went to the foul line. What were they, 25 or 26? You can win with that. The Bucks was 9 of 16. You can't win with that. But should be some cause for concern for the Bucks. What's the likelihood, Skip, or they're going to shoot 6 of 36 from the 3-point line? They've been atrocious from the 3-point line in the playoffs. And they played really well from the 3-point line last night. Now, the only thing that did concern me a little bit is that they out-rebounded them. And I thought the Suns would out-rebound the Bucks. But I didn't think Giannis was going to play. So throw Giannis in there. So there's a good chance that the Bucks are going to out-rebound the Suns in this series. But I just like the way the Suns played. I thought Devin Booker came out with a mindset that says, you know what? I'm getting to the rim, and I'm getting to where I'm my spot. And if the ball doesn't go in, you're going to have to foul me to stop it from going in. And so I thought that was really a big key of the ball game, Skip. They shot a lot of free throws. They were really, really aggressive, even though they didn't get a whole lot from Jay Crowder. The whole lot. They didn't get anything from Jay Crowder at one point. But the Suns won this game. And I know a looking at my timeline last night, they were talking about the Bucks had to beat the officials. I don't really think the officials played that big of a role in the ball game. I thought they were driving the ball. They were trying to get into the paint. They were trying to get fouls on their big guys, and they did a great job of that, and they did a great job of making their free throws. So I thought that was the real reason. When you get the big three go from 81, almost 30 rebounds, it's going to be tough. And then you get 10 points from Cam Johnson and Cam Payne off the bench. But I was listening, Skip. I didn't listen to this. I don't listen to the sound. But when the guys go stand for the post game, talk to the sideline reporters, I want to hear what they said. You heard what Chris Paul said, Skip? He said, Cam Payne and coach have been getting on me. So I need to play with pace. When you play with pace, you get easy shots. I don't care how efficient your offense is. It becomes a struggle if you have to operate continuously in the half-court set. Get some of those easy baskets. He pushed it last night, got a couple of layups, got a couple of easy threes from Cam Johnson. So I like what I saw from the Suns, but I'm not going to overreact. It's one game. It's a home game. You're supposed to win. You did win. Let's see what happens on Thursday night.
Okay. So, to amplify your final point, big picture, my man Shannon Sharpe going all the way back to last Tuesday's show was campaigning for campaign to get a little more run, get a little more playing time, take some of the CP3 minutes away, because Chris, if I'm paraphrasing what you said correctly, was starting to look a little old and slow. He was starting to walk the ball up the floor too much.
He said it. He said, I'm an old head. I like to play a little slow pace.
So that's the greatest irony of what we just beheld, because we beheld, as you called him, closeout Chris in Game 6 and Game 1. I just didn't see this coming.
I didn't either.
And now he's becoming an unstoppable scorer.
Yes.
When did I ever call Chris Paul III an unstoppable scorer since his Pelican days, long, long ago in New Orleans, right?
Right.
He just is. He's on fire. In his psyche, he's on fire where he's got this. And in the biggest picture, I'm just going to go ahead and congratulate Chris Paul III because he is about to win his first ever NBA championship ring.
Well, he's the betting favorite, Skip, for the MVP also.
And he's off to the races.
He's off to a great start.
And I'm just not sure, we'll talk more in depth about this in a few minutes, but I'm just not sure this series is going to last a whole lot longer. So my point is, I first guessed this. I tweeted, you can look at my timeline if you so choose, as soon as the game was about to tip, and I saw for sure that Giannis walked out on the floor and was going to jump ball the opening tip. I tweeted, Giannis is going to give it a try, advantage Suns, because I have told you now for days and days on this show, I just like the Bucks as a playoff team, not as a regular season team, but as a playoff team. I like the way they play. It's easier to root for the way they play without Giannis. It seems preposterous. It seems counterintuitive that you would take a two-time MVP and say, wait a second, they're better without him.
Right.
It's the weirdest phenomenon, but the reason I first guessed this and the reason I feel like I'm not being hypocritical here is there's something about this team's, the eye test of this team without Giannis. They play harder. They play more together. On offense, the ball moves and the shooters shoot. And if I can remind everybody, if we just look back at the two games they just won against Atlanta without Giannis, look at the numbers that Chris Middleton put up. These are his averages for those two games. He averaged 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. Well, that's almost a triple-double, right?
Right.
Look at your man, Drew Holiday, who you just criticized, rightfully so, who had a non-night, an off night last night.
He was bad.
Last two games against Atlanta, he averaged 26, 8, and 11. That means your two guards almost averaged triple-doubles in two games without Giannis. And meanwhile, my man, Brook Lopez, went back to being Brooklyn Brook, as in back in his Brooklyn Nets days, and he averaged 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks. 4 blocks a game in those two games against Atlanta. And all of a sudden, it came to this last night. It got so bad that the Bucks were so desperate that Brook Lopez had actually, in his new old role, where he had to go back to playing on the perimeter and shooting threes, he'd actually made 3 of 5 threes.
He did.
So through 3 quarters last night, as Chris Paul put on the Chris Paul show in the third quarter, Would you believe that Brook Lopez had outscored Giannis 17-13? And then what happened in the fourth quarter?
He didn't play.
He didn't play a second in the fourth quarter because they were so desperate, because they were getting their brains beat out, mostly by Chris. And they said, well, let's just try to put Giannis at the 5 and play smaller and just see what we can do.
Well, you play right into their hands because they got a true 5 player in the 5. They got DeAndre Ayton.
They got a true 5.
Yeah, so you play it into their hands now.
And so all of a sudden, the Suns went cold from 3 in the fourth quarter. And it's the only way that the Bucks crept back. They crept back into this game. And yet, they cut it to 7 at one point. That was fairly early. That was with about 7:16 left. They cut it to 7. But then they jumped back up by 10. And finally, they had a chance to cut it back to 7. This is with 4:20 left in the game. Could we see a vintage classic Giannis possession? Giannis gets it, and Giannis dribbles 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 it, and Giannis loses it. Yeah. How many times have you seen that in playoff games where the other team, as Ayton said again before this series started, we have to build the wall? Well, Giannis is dribbling, and the wall is waiting, and the wall is waiting, and Ayton's waiting. And Cam Johnson just finally says, well, if you're going to keep dribbling it, dribbling it, I'm just going to take it.
Right. Just come out the backside and take it from
them. They go
him.
right down to the other end, and Book nails a 3. And here they go. And they jumped up, and they won the game by 13 points.
More than 3 dribbles, Giannis not passing. So he's looking to get to the basket, so I ain't even guard. I'm collapsing it.
So what do I always say about Giannis? Why is he hard for me to root for? There's something missing in him intangibly. He's not an alpha. He's not a takeover killer will of a superstar player. He wins, again, he's the PER Prince player efficiency rating. He was a back-to-back MVP. Yeah. He is tremendous in the regular season. But if I show you his playoff flameouts, and I've got them all, we'll get into them through the show. But the deeper the Bucks have gotten into the playoffs with Giannis, the worse it's gotten for him, to where finally he just flames out because he has no mid-range game. No. So here's the greatest iron. Little 6-foot-tall Chris Paul III actually has an unstoppable shot. Like you always say, Kareem's skyhook, most unstoppable shot ever. Right. Well, now Chris has got the equivalent of a skyhook because off the high pick and roll, which they just kill Milwaukee with, or they kill everybody.
Both teams are pick and roll teams.
All right. But Chris is so sly and so shifty off the pick and roll side to side. He's got great still side to side quickness at 36 years of age that he just creates his. You want to talk about getting your own shot? He can just go sideways, jet sideways, and pull up and shoot 16 feet, 17 feet, 13 feet, 12 feet. And a lot of them are shot so softly that they bounce around and get a favorable roll and they fall. And he had 4 or 5 last night that bounced around the rim and fell. Because he shot them soft and sweet with a lot of touch.
Skip Book does a lot of that also.
I mean they're just, is it your turn or my turn? And they love each other and there's no ego involved there. And it's not like Chris needs to score because his ego needs it. His ego doesn't need it. He's just doing what the defense, whatever you give me, I'll take it.
You want to play back? You don't want him to get to the rim? Or y'all going to play for that? Because they're worried about the lob to Ayton. So they're going to play back. So you know what? Okay, I'll just rise up.
All right. And yet, look what happened last night. Book didn't have a Book game. Not one for the books, right?
No.
And what happened? He goes 8 of 21, but he was 1 of 8 from 3. And it did not matter. They still won by 13 points because there's something missing in the Bucks with Giannis in the lineup. Their offense stalls. It doesn't have the same flow and feel to it. And then on the defensive end, and this is the damnedest thing about this, they don't play as hard on defense with Giannis, and I don't know why. But they don't seem as committed because when they don't have Giannis, they play a little more desperately. It's like, okay, now the 2 guys who have made all-star teams, the 2 guards say, okay, we got to be all-stars tonight on both ends. Listen, this is the switchingest team I think I've ever seen where they don't fight over any pick.
Well, you said
they just switch and switch and switch.
But you got to think about what they possess. Look at the defensive players that they got. They got Tuck, they got Holiday, they got Middleton, they got Giannis, they got Lopez. So they feel that they got 5 guys at least. Well, 4 of them is made. 3 of them is made the all defensive team. So we figure we can switch anything, and we straight.
I couldn't tell. Seriously, I couldn't tell. Did you see defensive stoppers last night?
Yeah,
I just saw shot after open shot after open shot by either Book or CP3.
Well, the thing is, Skip, if Holiday is going to play this poorly offensively, he's got to give you more defensively.
Right.
Chris Paul can't get 32. Book can't get 27.
Okay.
You got to do one or the other. Either you go get 30 and they get theirs, but you can't score 14 and then allow them to do what they did.
So I've told you this a dozen times on this show. My biggest pet peeve is that in today's NBA, nobody tries to fight over the screen.
No, they're switching everything. They're switching 1 through 5.
It seems like a little thing, but it's a little huge thing because to fight over the screen requires a little bit of NFL. Yeah. Just a little bit. I'm not saying it's the NFL, but you have to be willing to give up part of your body.
Right.
You're going to get bruised. You're going to get scraped because some big 7-footer is going to be standing there and he's going to lean into you.
Shoulder, elbow,
he's
knee,
going to give
hip.
you a little bit of something somewhere, and it's going to be a borderline moving screen.
Right.
But you're going to have to fight through it.
Right.
The greatest pick fighter I ever saw was Michael Jordan.
Right.
Because he just said, no, I'm not going to let you do that to me. So he would beat you to the spot, and he would fight through the big guy to get across to stay right in your path.
Right.
Well, now you've defeated the high pick and roll.
Right.
Because if you fight over the screen and you're right in his face, well, all of a sudden, Chris Paul or Book's going, well, wait a second, we got to start over again. How about let's do another pick.
Skip, what has happened is that these guys have gotten so smart. They see you fighting over, they raise up and shoot the shot, and then you foul them. And so that's what the guys, a lot of these guys are doing. So, but they feel so comfortable now, like you said, switching 1 through 5. But Milwaukee, Skip, it shouldn't be a problem. Look what they got defensively. If you look at Milwaukee player for player, they might have the best defensive team when you go Lopez all the way down to the point guard and Holiday.
I give you that on paper.
Yes.
Did you see it on the court last night? I didn't see it.
It didn't show itself last night.
Did you see high energy? Did you see intensity? Did you see killer will from the Milwaukee Bucks? I saw nothing. I saw a team, usually a team, you know, if we go all the way to the top, let's even do LeBron. You know, if LeBron couldn't go for a couple of games and then he came back, then the Lakers or back to the Cavaliers or the Heat, they would be like rejuiced. They would all be saying, here we go. We got our guy back. Well, did Milwaukee look like its body language said, we got our man back? No, it looked like we're back to who we used to be, which we don't love.
Well, it seems like I'm the level-headed one today, and you're the one that's kind of overreacting. Skip, it's one game. Phoenix did what they were supposed to do at home.
It felt like 4 to me.
No, it did. It'll be a different game. You make the adjustment. Let's see. Now, Bud is not the best adjustment maker, but I think they'll play better. I think Giannis will be better.
I am less and less a Budenholzer fan because when we hear the sideline audio, the huddle audio, or the pregame speech or the postgame speech, it is so milquetoasty. It is so vanilla. It is so uninspiring to me. I wouldn't want to play for that guy. I would just tune him out because all he does is just utter weak, lame cliches.
Right.
We'll look at the tape and we'll get better next game. We'll be better in game 2. Come on, stop it. You got to show a little fire, a little anger, a little desperation, like we're better than this. I didn't hear any of that.
Right. We talked about this, Skip. You nor I expected to see closeout Chris. He's the first person since Jordan to have a 30-8 game in his finals debut. So it just lets you know he's ready to play. He understands this moment. He also understood, Skip, you lose. I mean, there have been very few teams that can lose game 1 on their home court. If I'm not mistaken, what was the last guy? Was it Jordan? Because you remember they lost to the Lakers in 91. Opening game, and then they reeled off 4 straight. So you don't want to lose, especially in a situation like this. Now, if the greatest Chris Paul played, he's not Jordan. So Jordan, they felt very, very good. They made some adjustments. They say, Scotty, you take Magic, pick him up full court, because we need Jordan to...
This is Michael's first breakthrough.
First breakthrough, just like CP3.
Yeah.
But Skip, even though Book didn't shoot well from the floor, look how aggressive he was trying to get to the basket.
He was.
And this is what we know about CP. Chris, when he comes up that pick, Skip, he's going to try to get back to his right hand, and he's going to elevate. So you come out better, Skip, forcing him to his left, because he's going to cross you over, and he's going to try to get to his right, and he's going to elevate. Skip, I told you, got a little elevate, a little CP3. He can elevate a little bit now. and he was just pulling up mid-range about 8 to 10 right in front of Brook Lopez's face.
I'm not sure he can elevate at all, but he's got great side-to-side quickness still. And he's still so stout and strong that he can bump you off and get free. He can separate.
Yeah. Cam Johnson, I thought Cam Johnson was huge. I thought Cameron Payne came in and played with great pace. I thought he played well. Saric goes down and they have to play Kamansky. That didn't look good for Saric.
Saric looked like he's done.
Yeah.
That looked bad.
Yeah, it really did look bad. But, Skip, it's one game. Come on, Skip. Giannis is your two-time MVP. He can't take the second. He had, what, of all the starters, only Tucker took less shots. Lopez had more shots than Giannis. Middleton had double the shots than Giannis. Holiday had more shots than Giannis. Giannis needs to be in the high teens, maybe low 20s. He'll be more aggressive. Suns better be on their best behavior because he's going to come out and he's going to get up high teens, 18, 19, maybe 22, 23 shots. So be careful.
To that, I would say advantage Suns.
No, ain't no advantage.
Because I thought he was about 85% last night, which was way better than I thought it would be. And I think he'll be 90% next game.
Yeah.
He'll be 95 in game 3, and he'll be 100% by game 4. And the higher percent he's healthy, the worse the Bucks will be.
That means they're going to start shooting threes. I like that. But if I'm DeAndre Ayton, I thought DeAndre Ayton played extremely well last night.
Well, he had no choice because he was unguarded.
I'm not contesting anything Giannis do outside of the paint. So he can do all that pump fake and all that, do all that you want to. But I'm going to stand right here, and I'm going to let you shoot that shot. I don't believe you can make 10, 12 footers. I don't believe you can make 15 footers. I know damn well you're not going to be able to make any whole bunch of threes. So you get out past the three-point line, I'm going to put it in the basket.
Yeah. Well, what takes the rest of the heart out of this team is Giannis at the free throw line because the fans are going to quit counting.
They're going crazy.
And every free throw is like a spectacle. It's like a moment unto itself. And when he misses, which is about half the time.
Yeah, exactly, which is often.
It takes the life and the heart out of his own team because it slows the game. It stalls the game.
Because it gives you an opportunity to skip. At worst case, it gives you an opportunity to even possibly tie the game or even take the lead. And he goes to that boink, and you're like, damn.
I do not like Milwaukee's chances going forward.
I like Skip, you like that bet I made with you last night? I told you that, man. I'm mad at Chris Paul.
You know, it's funny. You're drinking Diet Mountain Dew while you owe me 30-something cases, and I haven't been paid a drop. And you're over there drinking my Diet Dew. Am I correct about that?
Jenny, I know you like Appletini, but you'll love this Dew-tini.
Yeah, you know I love a good martini at any time of day.
I already had my quota for the day.
Cheers.
I get one big one before the show, and I am flying.
I'm going to be on these teenies all morning.
Yeah,
I'm going to be on these things all morning.
Oh, yeah.
Skip, you know what they call me? Derek called me. He called me Publishers Clearinghouse.
Did he?
Yeah.
Derek is our security guard who is a cowboy fanatic.
Yeah, he is a cowboy fanatic.
Shout out to Derek.
Yeah, he called me Publishers Clearinghouse, Jenny. He said, because you get sweepstakes.
Really?
I won everything from you last night. Gave you 6. And I got DeAndre 8 and 20 and 15.
If you had any sportsmanship to you, you'd say, you know what? I call off both bets because you called it beforehand. No Giannis.
I have no sportsmanship.
Yeah,
not at all. You're going to enjoy this as long as you can.
No mercy.
Chris Paul has remained red hot and followed up his 41-point game last round with a 32-point Game 1 performance last night in the finals. And after the game, Devin Booker had high praise for his veteran teammate, calling CP3, quote, the greatest leader to play this game. Strong words. Shannon, where would you rank Chris Paul as a leader all time here in the NBA?
I'm not going to be a prisoner in the moment like Devin Booker. And I understand, Skip, it's his first NBA Finals. I think Devin Booker was 8 years old when Chris Paul got drafted and ended up going to the New Orleans Hornets. And I understand having a guy of Chris caliber it's unlocked Devin Booker's full potential and then the NBA Finals. But Magic Johnson did play. LeBron James did play. Bill Russell did play in the NBA. And so I cannot be a prisoner of the moment. Guys need to understand, just because you didn't see it or it didn't happen in your era when you played doesn't mean it didn't happen. There are other guys that have led teams to championship. And Skip, this is a perfect storm. This is a perfect storm. You got a really, really young team with no playoff. Aiden's never been to the playoffs. Book had never been to the playoffs. Bridges, most of these guys, only Jay Crowder has finals experience. So you got the old head and Chris Paul.
Yep.
Been to the playoffs, been there, seen it all, never been to the finals. This young team never been to the playoffs, let alone been to the finals, let alone the playoffs. And you get him, he's a calming effect. He's a coach on the floor. But I cannot go that far because I've seen what LeBron has done with less talented teams and make it to the finals. I've seen what Magic Johnson, I'm old enough to remember when Magic Johnson played. I don't remember Bill Russell, Skip. He was long gone before, basically, I was 1 or 2 years old when he retired. But you win 11 championships in 13 years, and you win 2 of them as a player coach, you're a hell of a leader. So I think Chris Paul is a phenomenal leader. I think the thing is also, Skip, that we look at leaders, normally they're guards. I think that's the big thing, that when we look at Mr. Russell, centers are not usually, because they need somebody to get them the ball. It's normally the guy that has the ball that gets the ball to other guys. So where are we going to rank Jordan now? I thought Jordan was a great leader.
He was.
And now all of a sudden we just disregard Jordan because what we see for CP3? CP3 is phenomenal. I'm not trying to diminish the man, but let's not get carried away because of what's transpired over the last 6 weeks and say Chris Paul is the greatest now. It went from he was the greatest point guard to now he's the greatest leader. I'm not going that far. He's having a phenomenal playoffs. He started off the finals with a bang, but I'm not willing to sit here and say, Skip, he's the greatest leader now.
I appreciate all of that perspective. I also appreciate what Devin said, because in his eyes and mind and in his life right now, Chris is the greatest leader ever because this team is firmly positioned to go win a ring here in the next week or so.
Correct.
So I get all that. I'll go this far. The Chris Paul I have seen last year, a year ago in Oklahoma City and then this season in Phoenix is becoming, as he mellows, one of the greatest leaders ever.
Yes.
I need to see this get finished off. But if it does get finished off, it's going to shoot him way up my ranks in leadership.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to rank Magic at the very top for the reason you said. He did have the ball in his hands, and he was a true point.
Yeah.
And he was the true leader of the Showtime Lakers. And they had as fierce a competition as you could ever find in Larry Bird's Celtics. And they went back and forth, but Magic had the upper hand in that in the end. So I'm going to rank him first. But a 1A for me is Michael Jordan. You and I disagree on the leadership style because it was abusive. But it worked. But he was the leader, obviously, of teams that went 6-0 in the finals. You can give Phil some credit for that, but Michael was the voice in that locker room that everybody feared. And then, to your point, Bill Russell, I don't even know how to rank him, but he's right in that. He's right in the mix because he was the first ever player coach. So he actually played and coached for a couple of years as the head coach. Okay, well that works as leader.
That should count for something.
Okay, don't sleep on Tim Duncan because he was the leader of what I thought was a Spurs dynasty, and he didn't say much publicly, but privately, when he spoke, they listened. And that team followed him more than it followed Pop or obviously Manu or Tim or Tony, but it was Tim Duncan. Okay, so here's the point about Chris Paul. Let's track his career quickly. So he gets drafted by a mediocre Pelicans team in New Orleans, and he's there for 6 years, which is a pretty good chunk of time. And they make the playoffs 3 times. In 1 year, they did beat the Mavs in 5 in the first 2008, and then they took my Spurs all the way to Game 7. They were up 3-2 in that series, and it went right to the last drop because Chris Paul was a force, but he was more of a scoring force at that point than even an assisting force. He was a little 6-foot bulldog of a, not even, he was a pit bull of a scorer. So then we have remember the vetoed trade that takes place on December 8th, 2011. 2011, he is gone to the Lakers. And what happens? Because the Pelicans were then owned and operated by the league, David Stern, the commissioner, said, no, I will not have that. So 3 days later, he goes to the other LA team, the team in the basement, the Clippers.
Right.
And what happened with the Clippers? Not much.
Right.
Except that Chris, the biggest story, the subplot was, that became the plot, was that he was constantly feuding with Blake Griffin.
Right.
They just didn't get along, and those were two big superstar egos, and they clashed like crazy because Chris is hot-blooded.
Right.
Chris is quick-tempered. Chris has been, over his career, a cheap shot artist where he just loses his mind. It's not calculated. I just think it's over the edge where he is competing so hard that because he's only 6 feet tall, he says, I got to get you, so I'll get you below the belt.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I can't discount his reputation as a cheap shot artist because through all this time with the Clippers, that they even at one point got up 3-1 on Houston.
Rockets. Yeah,
and they lost 3 straight games. Yeah. And Chris's numbers in those games were pretty good, but can you say greatest leader when you blow a lead like that?
Hold on, Skip. You mentioned Magic. You mentioned Jordan. You mentioned Duncan. You mentioned Bill Russell. Stop playing. You know who the leader is.
Okay, I'll put him in there. LeBron.
Yeah, they put him in there. You put him at the top of the list.
I don't put him at the top of the list. No, he's
don't
about,
do that. Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
I'll give him about 5th on my list.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No, I'm not. But he does belong up in there, and that's a fair point on your part. So I give you that. But so what happens to Chris Paul? It gets so bad with the Clippers, they finally say, we can't do this anymore.
Right.
And he winds up in Houston with James Harden, and it was nothing but feuding, back and forth between those two, clashing. This town ain't big enough for the both of them, right?
Yeah.
And it got so bad that after 2 years, and they did have obviously a 3-2 lead on Golden State when Chris pulled his hamstring because he was perpetually getting hurt in the playoffs in big moments. Then what happens? The Rockets said, we got to get rid of him. And so they said, we're going to trade for Russell Westbrook, but we're going to have to give up 4 first-round picks to do this. Because part of the bounty was to get rid of Chris and his salary to Oklahoma City. And silly me, when he got shipped to my hometown of Oklahoma City, what did I think? That he was being put out to pasture.
It's kind of like, Skip, you tried to sell the house, but you got to throw the furniture in to make sure the house
to get the deal done. Am I right? And so I pitied Chris Paul because I thought, God, this team is in a straight-on rebuild right now where you're going to be stuck with a lot of young players and you're just going to have to play for your check and that's about it. And you're just going to kind of slowly fade into the sunset. And what did they do that first year? There's Shai Gilgeous there, and there's Luke Dort.
They made it to the playoffs, and they pushed the Rockets.
They went 44-28. They tied for 4th in the Western Conference, but they ended up in the 5 seed, but on the tiebreaker. But still, 44-28. That might have been Chris Paul's greatest achievement, right?
It might. Well, this will be his greatest achievement. That'll be his second greatest.
But I'm saying that set the stage for this. And then it was still a fairly quiet maneuver when he winds up in Phoenix. It's not like we did our whole show on Chris Paul goes to the Suns. Well, it was beautiful because it was right on time because Devin Booker was ready to become a star. DeAndre Ayton was almost ready to become a star.
Skip, I said it'd be a 4 or 5 seed. I did not see it. Nobody saw this coming.
Okay. So we're talking about greatest leader. Well, somehow he's mellowed out. And all the stories last night after the game was about, we clashed all year. You know, we had to find ourselves. And Chris Paul clashed with Devin Booker, and Chris Paul was all over DeAndre Ayton. But as Monty Williams said, we had a meeting of the minds where Chris Paul made peace with everybody. And you know how it happens. You've been around for 16 years, and you finally say, I guess I got to kind of just chill a little bit here, right? I got to swallow some of my pride in the way I do it because maybe my way isn't the only way to do it. And all of a sudden, great things started to happen.
Skip, if you go someplace and everywhere you go, there's a stench, you're it. Think about that, CP3. Everywhere you go, there's a disagreement. There's an argument somewhere. And the only common denominator is you. So it might be you. But, Skip, this is the perfect storm. Think about it. Book. Really young.
Perfect.
Really young.
You couldn't
Mikal Bridges, really young.
You're right on time. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
And listen, to your point of last week, your backup, he's pretty good. So when you need a little rest, they don't drop off at all. In fact, they sort of speed up. The RPM goes up with campaign.
I think the biggest thing for Chris, what Chris needed to understand, your leadership style can't be one way for everybody.
Yeah.
You have to understand, some guys need you to ride them a little bit. Some guys need you to put your arm around them and say, hey, bro, hey, I know you better than that.
Yeah.
I know you can make that play. I'm counting on you to make that play. Some guys you be joke, hey, bro, my wife could have hit that shot. So you just got to find a style. But to come in there like, everybody, it's not going to work. So people will rebuff you.
Okay.
And I think he has a great relationship with Monty Williams that goes back a decade.
Does.
He's like, CP, you have to understand, check the temperature of the room.
Yep.
That and go accordingly from there.
I would agree. And I heard a story last night from Devin Booker. He said they had some team bonding parties early on. And he would tell his friends after the party, you know, that was Chris Paul.
Right.
He was at my house.
Right.
That was that guy, Chris Paul.
Everybody knows LeBron James started a team bonding. We go in the movie.
Okay.
We got wine night.
All right.
Guess what else we got?
Okay.
When you get beats, we dress it alike with the suits.
Okay.
The Tom Brown suits. Don't do that, Skip. That man number one and you know it.
I got it. But my point that you're missing about Chris was Devin Booker is in awe of Chris Paul.
Right.
And yet Chris Paul came to Phoenix with what? No rings. With nothing. With nothing.
He has a nice resume, but it wasn't a whole lot of winning championships.
There wasn't anything on that thing. I mean, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Of so many All-Star teams, and he led
all
the league.
NBA and all that. Yes,
and all defense, and led the league in steals. What? 4 times?
Yeah.
6 times steals and 4 times assists.
Right.
So he's got all the accolades, but he didn't have any championship pedigree.
Right.
It's not like Magic Johnson walked in the door with 5 rings.
Exactly.
No.
And he comes in, he's the most outstanding player from college, and then he comes in, and then his first year, he's the MVP of the finals. Well, you made after that, Skip. Okay. Nobody can tell you nothing. I don't believe we'll ever see. What Magic did his rookie season, I don't know if we'll ever see another rookie win finals MVP, Skip.
I don't think so either.
Good luck with trying to get a rookie to go to the finals.
I would agree.
As a lead.
But in the end, I'm not going to criticize Devin Booker for saying he's the greatest leader, because to them he is.
Yes.
And to Oklahoma City a year ago he was.
Yes.
So he is showing a lot of greatness in leadership. And the final quick point, I also don't discount the fact that for years he's been the leader of the Players Association.
Yes.
That qualifies you.
No, I'm not saying he's not a great leader.
Yeah, I know.
Because obviously anytime you lead 450 men,
if you bring that into the equation, then he's top 10 all time on that alone.
Skip, he might even be top 5. But all I'm saying is that when you go for 1 year and said he's the greatest leader in the 75, almost said, 3/4 century of the NBA, I'm going to have to give you some pushback, because I know guys that led teams and won multiple championships. So you don't just get to move to the front of the line after one great run. Let's see you finish it off, and we can have another conversation. But I still even believe if he finish this thing off, Skip, he doesn't move to the front of the line. How you bump Magic? How you bump?
Absolutely not.
Hell, Isaiah Thomas was a heck of a leader.
He was. So was Joe Dumars on that team. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, both of you make great points. His leadership, definitely something you can't deny right now for the Suns. Giannis, he's trying to get it done. He was able to put up 20 points along with an impressive block that definitely got social media buzzing last night, but none of it was good enough for a Milwaukee upset. The Bucks now find themselves as bigger underdogs in the series after dropping Game 1. So, Shannon, did last night change your prediction for the series?
No, it did not. And I'm not going to overreact like my good friend and my partner, Skip Bayless, because now I think he thinks the Suns are going to sweep. I just believe that when you come off of injury, the first game back is you're kind of feeling it out, because he's like, okay, it feels good, but I don't want to really do anything. I don't want to go too crazy with it. I'll bail. I believe Giannis will be even better in Game 2 than he was in Game 1, because he'll trust it. And so with that being said, Skip, I just, look, even if Giannis hadn't played, and I told you this, I was taking the Suns from the door. Giannis plays or Giannis doesn't play. I still believe the Suns are the better team. They're the deeper team. So I was going to take the Suns. But Giannis will be more aggressive. Giannis is going to get up at least very close to 20, if not more than 20 shots. I promise you, In this series, Giannis Antetokounmpo of the starters will not take the fourth most shots. That's not going to happen. That cannot happen because they cannot win like that. They're not that good. Skip, there's sometimes you see teams and the best player, okay, he has a good game, but the other guys carry it. That's not going to happen. And that normally doesn't happen. For Kawhi, for them to win, Kawhi needs to play well. Terrence Mann and Keith Marcus Morris and Reggie Jack, they're not gonna get more shots than Kawhi. That's not happening. Giannis can't allow this to happen, but I believe it happened because he wasn't sure. He's like, yeah, okay, they cleared me to play. I feel pretty good, but I'm not really ready to go all out yet. I believe you'll see a different Giannis on Thursday. But for me, Ayton is that they can't deal anything. Skip, the lowest plus minus was Brook Lopez. Yeah, he was doing his thing, but they were getting whatever they want because he's too slow-footed, Skip. You see Chris Paul come off that high pick and roll, rise up, shoot the ball. Devin Booker, rise up, shoot the ball. And Ayton, run it.
Okay, why was Brook Lopez the worst plus minus? Because he did not play in the fourth quarter when they did make a run.
He is the weakest link. Goodbye.
He is not the weakest link. The point is that Chris Paul went crazy in the third quarter, and the game was virtually over because they extended the lead to 20 points.
Yes.
And then the Bucks made a very misleading, delusional run in the fourth quarter that got it all the way down to 7. But if they're going to hang their hat on that, if they're going to try to play small with Giannis at the 5, they are going to get beaten worse than they did last night.
Yeah.
Okay? So here's my point. Big picture, I first guessed this. With Giannis, I gave them a chance. Without Giannis, I gave them a chance to steal game 1 and at least make it a competitive series. With Giannis at 85% last night and still creeping up toward 100% in the next 4 games, I believe that the Suns are going to sweep. And the point is that should Milwaukee win one of those 2 games at Milwaukee, which they've been doing fairly consistently through these playoffs, yes, they should. But I believe that if you look at what really happened last night, Devin Booker shot 1 of 8 from 3. Jay Crowder shot 0 of 5 from 3.
Right.
The Phoenix Suns got outshot from 3. The Phoenix Suns got out-rebounded last night by the visiting team. And despite all that, they won by 13 points, and it was never really close. So what does that tell you that will happen in game 2 and then game 3 and then game 4? Phoenix is just better than them, and I don't like the body language and the chemistry and the unity and the eye test of the Bucks with Giannis in there. And again, he's flamed out again and again and again in big playoff series. They've had 3 and 4 games where they've just blown all apart because they get too Giannis dependent. Do you remember what happened in the bubble last year? Do you remember what happened in the first 3 games against Miami? He went missing because his shooting from the field fails. He shoots more and more shots, and his percentage, he'll make 60% during the regular season, and then it falls to 40%. And then his free throws, sometimes he'll make 70% during the regular season, then you get in the post, and his free throws will fall to 40%. Well, you can't win that way when he's taking more and more shots because the onus is on him as the 2-time MVP to take you home, to save the day. So he will take more and more shots.
Yes.
And he'll miss more and more shots, and he'll get to the free throw line more and more, and he'll shoot 45%.
But Skip, even if he takes more and more shots, Giannis is going to she's going to shoot 50% because the majority of his shots are going to be layups or dunks. So he's going to be in the high percentile. But what you cannot have happen, the Bucks' big 3 cannot get outscored by 22.
Okay.
That cannot happen. Holiday. Now, Middleton caught fire in the second half. He got off to a sluggish start. Now, Skip, remember the first game against Atlanta, he had 15 points. Last night, he had 29. So that's encouraging. But Holiday, his field goal percentage has been terrible for the most part throughout these playoffs. He needs to play better. And Skip, we gave him the benefit of the doubt. Like, he's guarding Kyrie, so that's a tall task. Or he's trying to guard Trae Young. That's a tall task. Bruh, okay, if you're going to guard these guys, you can't let Chris Paul get 32, or you can't let Booker get 27, and you can't let Trae Young get 48. You got to do something, or you got to offset that by scoring yourself.
Okay. So I'm just going to remind you what happened in 2019. It was Kawhi's breakthrough in Toronto.
Yeah.
Won a ring.
Yeah.
And in the conference finals against those Raptors, the Bucks lost 4 straight games. They won the first 2, and then they lost 4 straight. And in those 4 losses, Giannis made only 44% of his shots after he had been the MVP, making 58% during the regular season. In those 4 losses, Giannis shot 47% from the free throw line after, during the regular season, when he was the MVP, he shot 73%.
Right.
They build a wall.
Right.
He doesn't have a mid-range game.
Right.
He flames out.
Right.
He's not that guy.
Right.
He's not alpha. He's not takeover. He has superstar ability without superstar intangibles. So I think this is going to go from bad to worse. And I think Phoenix can play better because Phoenix can shoot better from 3 than they did last night. And if they start making more threes, especially Devin Booker, which he will, then all of a sudden this is going to get worse and worse.
I didn't like the way they started. I don't like the matchup of taking Holiday and putting him on Book. Take Holiday and put him on Chris Paul. Take Middleton and put him on Book. Because I don't like Tucker's a good defender, but he needs a big body to bang on, not a little quick, fast twitch. Now it's not like CP3 has the fastest twitch at his age, but I'm saying he's quicker than Tuck, and he's able to get whatever shot that he wants. That's not the matchup. That's not how I would have done it. Now it's gonna be interesting to see the adjustments that they're going to make. Are you going to start that again? Are you going to start Tuck out on CP3 and you're going to let Holiday take Book? I was flipping around. I would put Holiday on CP3. I would take Middleton and guard Devin Booker. I understand, Skip, you don't want to fatigue him, but you can't let CP3 get going. Because once he gets going, he turned out to close out Chris in game 1.
You think they're going to shut him down in game 2? I don't.
Well, you got to do something, Skip. You can't give him. You gave him a steady diet of one thing, and that was his favorite dish. So you let him get to the pick and roll. You let him get to his right hand. He elevated. No, take something away.
With Giannis back on defense, I saw lifeless. I saw low energy. I saw no desperation that I saw in games 5 and 6 against the Hawks. And I know Trae didn't play in 5, but he did play in 6.
Right.
And they played their tails off on perimeter defense, on all of them, on Herter and anybody, Cam Reddish, whoever else was in the game. They played first team all defense kind of defense.
But a lot of those guys, Bogdanovich really wants to shoot the 3. Herter wants to hang out. Devin Booker is trying to get to the paint. He's trying to get to the mid-range. And he's putting pressure. Last night, he's like, oh, I ain't shooting no mid. I'm going to the bucket. Foul, foul, foul. So, and like you said, he didn't shoot the ball well. He was 8 of 21, but he's 10 of 10 from the free throw line. That you can live with that. So and you talked about Toronto built the wall, but the Suns are really not building the wall for Giannis. They're telling Ayton to take him straight up because they're about the same size. Now Ayton's a little bigger man, obviously, but he's like, look, and if I'm Ayton, if I'm Monty Williams telling how they used to use LeBron, get off it. Why you hugging up? Because all you're going to try to do is try to head fake you and get to the rim and dunk it. But I feel good about my pick, my selection.
Which is 6?
Yep.
Okay, so you're going to have to get the Bucks a couple of wins.
Yeah, Bucks. I'm going to be shocked if the Bucks don't win 2 games at home.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think games 3 and 4?
They're going to get 1, and then they probably steal 1 and then the Suns close them out.
Really? Yeah. Steal 1 in Phoenix, you mean?
They'll steal 1 in Phoenix.
Really?
Yeah.
So
Game 5.
So you're going to say they fall behind 3-1 then?
Probably so, yeah. I feel comfortable.
Fall behind 3-1 and then win game 5? Okay, if that happens, how many cases can we bet right now?
No, you ain't going to get nothing. Skip.
How many cases
let me
on a potential game 5 closeout in Phoenix, I'll take the Suns straight up.
Skip, I gave you points. You've never given me points on the bed. I give you points all the time. I gave you 6.
Well, they're prohibitive favorites.
There wasn't no prohibitive favorites.
Yes, they were.
It was a coin flip.
A coin? What are you talking about? Everybody's picking the Suns. Yeah.
Vegas said it's the Suns are slight favorites.
No, they're solid favorites.
No, they're not solid.
Well, they are now.
They won game one. Yeah. They wasn't going into the series.
Yeah. Well, so you're going to give me the Suns in game 2 then?
No, I'm not giving you the Suns.
Okay, well, I just want to know. I want to make sure what your pick is.
My pick is the Suns.
I'm going sweep. This is going to. They're going to get steamrolled. It's going to get worse and worse.
No, they're not sweeping, Skip.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're going.
You want 2 cases on the sweep? They don't get swept.
Nope. I'm not betting on anything anymore involving Giannis.
Nothing? No mercy. So after Chris Paul dropped 32 points and led the Suns to a Game 1 win over the Bucks, his close friend LeBron chimed in on Twitter. He simply tweeted this: 1 down, 3 to go, CP3. As simple as that. Skip, what is your reaction to the tweet from LeBron?
Aha! So this time, LeBron actually chose to watch a huge game being played by his very close friend, Chris Paul III. And this time, he actually chose to tweet about this game because LeBron tweets about every big game ever played. He's the biggest sports fan I know this side of me. And this time, he at least chose to give a little sort of grudging, very understated support to his close friend, CP3. As opposed to what LeBron did last Wednesday night, which was to choose to attend a WNBA game being played across the street at the same time of a huge game being played in LeBron's town, in LeBron's house, Staples Center, featuring CP3 with a chance to go to his first ever NBA Finals, a Game 6 that also featured the team in the basement, the team LeBron cannot stand. And talk about a grandstand maneuver. LeBron wanted to upstage at least the Clippers, not Chris, although I wish he had at least shown a little more support to Chris by watching the game and tweeting about that game and congratulating him for that achievement.
They do have DVR, but okay.
Okay, they do have DVR, but the point was that in this case, what really got under LeBron's skin, what tore him apart was that the Clippers were playing a game LeBron believed he belonged in Staples Center, in the conference finals, in a closeout Game 6 potential. LeBron wanted to be that guy in that game. And even Shannon Sharpe told me that if the Clippers had Kawhi Leonard healthy, if Joe Ingles hadn't bumped him on that semi-fast break and knocked him a little off balance and he hadn't torn his knee to the point that he needs surgery on that knee, you told me that the Clippers would be playing right now instead of the Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals, right?
Okay.
And that's what LeBron feared that night was, oh my God, they got Game 6 at home. They're going to pull this thing off. They're going to win this game, and they're going to go back where they had just won Game 5 at Phoenix, and they're going to go do it again. So he feared the Clippers, even without Kawhi Leonard, were going to completely upstage him and his town, and he was going to have to put up with all these New Balance ads about Kawhi Town, or me calling it Georgetown, as in Paul Georgetown. And no, I have no problem with him going to a WNBA game because it's great, and he's a basketball fan, and I'm sure he's gone to an occasional WNBA game. But the point of that night was it could have been a rodeo going on at the convention center across the street, and LeBron would have gone to the rodeo and invited Dame to go along just so he could create a big internet firestorm about, ooh, is he recruiting Damian Lillard?
The only firestorm it created was your mind. So you thought so during the process. So when did you come to this conclusion? Was it before, during, or after the game last night?
Well, I saw his tweet after the game.
Yeah.
And it was just a nice little tweet, like a grudging, like, okay, 1 down, 3 to go.
It's begrudgingly. So you did. I thought that was the one thing that people say that is so hard about when you write something because the interpretation. Everybody else took it like, man, CP3, man, LeBron congratulates his friend. They've been friends for a long, long time, over 16 years. And Skip Bayless took it like he
congratulate his friend after he got to his first ever finals?
How you know he didn't call him?
Interesting. Well, he didn't tweet about it, and he does everything publicly on social. His whole life is social.
This is what I took it. My good friend is in the NBA Finals. He won the first game. That's a great accomplishment. But you got 3 more to go. It's not the first to one, it's the first to 4.
Yep.
And so you got 3 more games, CP3, and I want to be one of the first to congratulate you on a job well done last night, but you got 3 more to go. Let's not lose sight of that. Skip, okay, he didn't want to go to Staples. He wasn't at this game, so you wanted him to go to Staples. If he goes to Staples, he had to show this is his house. You were going to find some fault with it, because that's what you do.
Well, I didn't care whether he went to Staples or not.
You shouldn't care if he tweeted
watched the game. He tweets about every big game.
Okay.
He tweets about golf. He tweets about anything.
He tweeted about this one. Maybe he didn't want to watch it. Maybe it was too painful.
There you go. Thank you.
Whatever the case may be.
Yes.
He didn't want.
Thank you.
He didn't want to upstate. First of all, it's LeBron. Everything that he does, LeBron can go get a burger. Man, you know LeBron was over there in Westwood. What? Yeah, what'd he get? Double-double, animal style. No, he didn't.
You seem to know all about double-doubles.
I might have partaken a long time ago.
Yeah.
But Skip.
Like last week?
Skip, you do realize everything that LeBron does, really not that big of a deal.
He's the face of the league, not just the face of the franchise, right?
I get that.
And he's LeGone right now.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for Space Jam to drop, right?
Guess what? So is Kawhi Town a ghost? Just like Kawhi Town is uninhabited. Just like Georgetown is uninhabited. Just like KD is in Vegas. So he's not the only one that's gone.
But you call him the GOAT,
okay,
quote unquote.
No, but
right?
you said the best player on the planet. Where's the best player on the planet? Getting ready to prep for a gold medal, to try and win a gold medal. This is Chris Paul's moment. And see, what you try to do is that you try to hijack it and try to make it seem like LeBron is trying to hijack Chris Paul's moment.
Well, he hijacked Game 6 moment.
He hijacked it. That man living his life.
From the Clippers, he hijacked it.
Guess what happened? LeBron could have been driving. Him and Savannah could have been driving. Police pulled him over. Skip gonna say that was a plant. He called the police, told him he was gonna be speeding. They pulled him over on the 405 so he could upstage the Clippers.
Did that ever happen? No.
No, but that's what you would have said.
Well, it didn't happen.
He went to a game.
Yep.
All he did was go to a WNBA game, and you talking about he wanted to upstage the Clippers.
So I tweeted late last night, quote unquote, I miss LeBron right after the game.
Of course you do.
I miss LeBron. I think it did 2 million impressions.
You ain't got nobody to hate on now.
No, I miss all of his drama king drama.
So why you miss that? Who wants to be in a relationship without that drama?
This series is devoid of drama king drama, right? There are no real subplots to it. It's a great story. Chris Paul is going to win his first ring. He's going to reassert his reputation as a great leader. And it's all about Chris and the emergence of Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. And so it's a done deal. And
it ain't no done deal. Stop doing that.
People say, well, Giannis, he got hurt and he tried to play, but he wasn't quite Giannis. And it will come and it will go.
A lot of people got hurt. But this is not about LeBron. LeBron tweeted, hey, bro, congratulations on the win, but you got 3 more. As I said, it's not the first to 1, it's the first to 4. Yep. Everybody understands that.
I just expected last Wednesday night a fireworks-style tweet of just with lots of emojis and lots of fire and lots of, I don't know, I don't use emojis. I don't even know which ones to choose. But LeBron should have just been over the moon. He should have been doing handsprings on Twitter and on Instagram.
The Clippers nobody thought the Clippers were going to do anything. The Clippers haven't done anything.
About Chris making it to his first finals, right? No, didn't do it. Very understated.
Guess what we're going to do? You think, let me ask you a question. Does Tom Brady celebrate getting to the Super Bowl or celebrate after he wins it?
Yeah, but you went all the way to the greatest player ever
I'm just asking.
in any sport.
You're not celebrating. Great accomplishment.
Okay, has Chris been into a finals before? No.
But what good is, so if Chris Paul gets there and he doesn't win, what?
Well, you congratulate the man for just getting there.
No, we don't do participation.
Okay, well, that's you, but you've been to how many? Like you cakewalked all those Eastern finals?
Most people, Skip.
You've been to 10?
Yes. We've been to 10.
Okay.
So we don't get in our things that excites a lot of people doesn't excite us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because you got the Space Jam ripoff.
No. But I mean, you think about it. I mean, billionaires. I mean, what did they tweet to one another? What do you get the guy? What's the celebration?
Okay, but Chris isn't a quote-unquote billionaire.
Yeah,
he is not. He hasn't ever done this before.
He's worth $1 billion. He ain't Bezos. He ain't what Elon Musk.
Okay, but he's got he's got nothing to show for it.
But guess
you
what?
just said it in the last
But
topic
guess
we did.
what? When he gets one,
yeah.
Now we celebrate.
Oh.
Now we celebrate.
Yeah.
Now guess what? Me and Bron, we'll invite him up to the place. Pop a couple bottles of that Rothschild.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Opus. That's what we do.
LeBron needs to gear back on that.
Well, see, you worry about the wrong things.
Yeah.
They say wine is good. Wine is good for you.
In moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They drunk a lot of it in the Bible. Didn't they teach you in the Bible? Did he turn one barrel? Did he turn water into wine? So how much was it? Was it a pitcher or was it a lot?
In moderation.
The Blue Zone. Have you ever heard of the Blue Zone?
No.
It's where the life expectancy. You drink a lot of wine up there. Yeah, you need to read about it. I give you a book about it.
Really?
Yep.
Well,
I'm about to start drinking me some. I got me a big barrel of silver oak.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jenny, you want it?
Yes, I do. Actually.
Maybe your ankle would be a little stronger if you didn't drink quite so much wine.
No, that's what got it back. That's what got it back strong.
Really?
Quick. If he didn't drink that, he'd probably been gone for the whole year.
Wine is definitely not the issue. He enjoys the finer things in life, LeBron.
Cigars? Issue.
Wine, cigars.
Hold on. Your guy smoked 3 a day.
I told you it was his downfall.
I get everybody want a downfall like that to win 3 more. They win 6 championships and 5 MVPs. Everybody want a downfall like
but
that.
by the time 3 years into retirement, he went to Washington, he wasn't the same.
No. Well, what? Let me ask you a question.
He had let himself go.
Let me ask you a question. You think Tom Brady can retire for 3 years, still work out the way he has, and come back and still be Tom Brady?
I do not.
Okay, then.
Okay.
So they didn't have nothing to do with no cigars. It had nothing to do with that brown liquor.
It did.
I mean, look at me. I retired for a couple of years. Look at me. I want that brown liquor heavy.
Really? Still got almost clear eyes?
Yeah. That's NAFCON A. And good night sleeping. Wake up every morning early, put ice on my eyes to take the swelling out of it.
Yeah, well, one of us gets up early.
That's you. Yeah. I get up early, too.
All of us
you
get up far
about
too
3
early.
hours after me.
No, I can't compete with Skip's wake-up call. I will never
get up at 2 o'clock
before the show, but I am impressed.
No mercy.
Giannis gave it a go on his knee last night, but that didn't stop the Suns from taking game 1 at home 118-105. Giannis had 20 points in the loss, but it was Chris Paul who kept his momentum from the last round going, scoring a game-high 32 points and dishing out 9 assists. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, what is your biggest takeaway from game 1?
My biggest takeaway, Jen, is that Milwaukee has a serious problem. And that problem is that they can't guard Phoenix. All right, I said yesterday, they're going into this game, in this series, what I wanted to see was what Milwaukee did with Phoenix's pick and roll and how they guarded it. Could they stop it or slow it down? Now, the pick and roll, every team runs the high pick and roll. That's not unusual. What's unusual, though, is most teams in the league, when they run the high pick and roll, they're not looking for a mid-range jump shot. They're looking for something at the rim or a three-pointer to set up a three-point shot. Well, Phoenix will say, we'll take that mid-range shot, thank you very much, with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Now, Milwaukee made an adjustment. They started off the game switching the high pick and roll. So that's why you saw Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis and all these other bigs guarding Devin Booker and Chris Paul. And what happens? Devin Booker goes for 12 points in the first quarter. Chris Paul goes for 11 in the second. Eventually, Milwaukee goes back to its regular coverage, and that changed nothing. Obviously, Chris Paul feasted on it in third quarter with the drop coverage with 16 points. Now, the problem is if they send the big up to challenge the mid-range shot, that leaves stuff open for DeAndre Ayton at the rim, and you saw that last night. So here's what the deal was. Chris Paul gets 32, Devin Booker gets 27, DeAndre Ayton gets 22. Now, you might say, well, that's one game. No, this is a pattern. The 3 games they've played this year, Phoenix has won all 3. I know the first 2 were close. But the pattern is that those 3 stars all feast on Milwaukee's defense. Chris Paul is averaging 27 points now against Phoenix in the 3 games this year. That's more than he averaged against any other team by far. Devin Booker's giving you 27 against Phoenix in these 3 games. That's about what he does. DeAndre Ayton's giving you 20 a game against Phoenix. That's more than all but 2 other teams he played against this season. The Phoenix Suns in the 3 games against Milwaukee, one of the best defenses in the league, are averaging nearly 124 points. Phoenix has been scoring 106 points a game in the playoffs, and they go for 118 last night and didn't even shoot well from 3. So that's my biggest takeaway, is that Milwaukee, we have a problem.
I agree. I thought the Suns were really aggressive also, Chris. You shoot 26 free throws. They make 25 of those. You look at Devin Booker. He's looking, as you mentioned, he's looking to get to the rim. He's looking to get to the mid-range, although he was 1 of 8 from three-point line, like you mentioned. But I didn't expect to see closeout Chris. I expected him to get 20, 22 points, 10, 11 assists. I did not see this type of scoring output. Now, we were talking about it, and I've been celebrating up here with my Dutinis. Thank the Skip Bayless gave me that 2015. Told you that was going to happen. Yeah, I'm going to send you some of these old Dutini mix that I got going on. I'm thinking about making one of these. You want to go in partnership with me?
Is it my turn?
No, it's not your turn. Look, the one thing that you can't have happen, Chris, is that Holiday is going to have to play better. I believe Giannis will play better because he will trust that knee more. It was his first game back in about a week. Because if I'm not mistaken, Skip, he hurt that knee last Tuesday. Because he missed Thursday and Saturday game. So, yeah, so it was a week. I believe he'll trust the knee more. He'll be more aggressive. Of the starters, only P.J. Tucker took fewer shots than Giannis. That can't happen. That won't happen. But Milwaukee's big 3 can't get outscored by Phoenix's big 3 by 22. That cannot happen. I don't believe it'll happen. I believe the Suns will win game 2. But they will play better. They have to play better. But Giannis is going to have to be more aggressive, and Holiday is going to have to play better. It's as simple as that. Or they're going to get swept.
They are going to get swept.
They're not. Stop saying
My turn. Yesterday on this show, about this time, my friend Chris Broussard pushed me. What's your pick? Who are you picking? I said, tell me if Giannis is going to play or not. Did I not say that?
You did.
And you said, I don't know, maybe by game 3. And I think Chris said something about, who knows, maybe by game 3. I need to know, and then I'll give you a pick. Giannis played last night, so I'll give you a pick. Suns in 4. I first guessed this. I'm not the 20/20 hindsight this guy is sitting across from me. I first guessed it a week ago. This team plays better in big playoff games without Giannis. There's something missing in his psyche. He is not an alpha. He is not that guy. He does not have a killer will. He is not a takeover superstar that we've seen the greats be. He has superstar ability. He can win back-to-back MVPs. He can be the PER Prince. But when it comes to big games and big moments in playoffs, he'll put up numbers that don't translate. They don't rub off. He does not make other players better around him. He is not contagious. I can show you flame out after flame out after flame out in his playoff resume dating back to 2015 when they lost by an average of 21 points in that series against the Bulls. Then against the Raptors in 2017, they lost by an average margin of defeat of 11. The next year by an average margin of defeat of 10. I can just keep on going all the way to the bubble last year when the Heat took them all apart in games 1, 2, and 3, and they lost that series by an average margin of defeat of 9 points. He's not that guy. He's great in the regular season, I give you that. But the whole team's body language changed last night with him back in the lineup. I watched them win games 5 and 6 against Atlanta, and I watched Chris Middleton say, I'm free. I'm unleashed. I can go back to being an all-star. I watched Drew Holiday say, oh, now I can be a star again. I watched Brook Lopez turn back into Brooklyn Brook against Atlanta. Look what Chris Middleton averaged in those last 2 games. 29, 9, and 8, almost a triple-double. And simultaneously, Holiday, 26, 8, and 11 in those last 2 games against the Hawks. Almost a triple-double. Brook Lopez averaged 23, and 4 blocks a game because he can defend the low post. So I made 2 bets with this man across from me. I took the Bucks without Giannis, and he gave me 6, and I would have won the game. I believe they would have stolen the game without. Well, we'll never know, but I've been really good. If you look at my track record on this show and other shows I've been on, my upset specials have had a long history of connecting. And this one would have connected, and I would have won my Ayton bet if Brook Lopez had guarded him. Brook Lopez didn't guard Ayton last night. Guess who? Giannis guarded him. And guess what? He got those numbers because Giannis isn't physical enough. He's not tenacious enough. He doesn't have the stature to stop him in the low post. He got those numbers he got by accident. Like he's just 7 feet tall, just diving to the rim, and occasionally there's a lob. I'll just dunk it.
Can I ask you a question? What would you say? How was Giannis in Game 6 and 7 against the Nets? Was he good? Was he okay?
Yeah,
was he great?
It was Kevin Durant going 1-on-5. James Harden was a shocking shell of himself, and there was no Kyrie.
I'm saying, how was Giannis?
And Joe Harris, I don't know. They're still looking for him in Brooklyn right now.
I'm just saying, well, how was Giannis, though? Would you say Giannis' performance was
pretty good?
Pretty good?
He made one shot in overtime, but who was the killer was Middleton. He made the biggest shots.
But, Skip, this is what we know. Middleton hasn't been the most efficient guy. Holiday has had a game here or there, but Holiday hadn't played well in all of these playoffs. Look at him against the Nets. He had a game here or there, but it was not efficient. Look at him against Atlanta. He wasn't efficient. Look, I just believe Giannis is going to get more than 11 shots. Chris, you think they can win with Giannis taking 11 shots? When he averages 18, 19, maybe 20?
He'll take more, and they'll lose by 20 next time.
They ought to lose by no 20.
Yep, they just lost by 13. Giannis puts up big numbers, and they put up big losses. That's what happens.
This is crazy.
No, it's right.
There is no evidence whatsoever that the Milwaukee Bucks are better without Giannis. They barely are a playoff team without Giannis in the East.
Yeah.
They were 6-5, Skip, in the regular season without Giannis. And they didn't beat one playoff team.
Then
they beat an Atlanta team that ain't that good to begin with. That was a 5th seed. And then Atlanta's playing without its best player.
Not in Game 6.
There was no one on that Atlanta roster that's ever going to make an all-star team, except maybe in the future, Cam Reddish.
I didn't hear about this against Philadelphia. All I heard was Trae Young has emerged. He's a superstar.
Well, Trae Young was healthy. Trae Young, my point is,
pretty good to me in Game 6.
Giannis, Trae wasn't playing. He wasn't himself. That was clear. Just like you said Harden was a shell of himself, Trae was a shell of himself. And then, even if what you said, which I'm not buying all that, but if let's just for sake of argument, if Giannis doesn't have the killer will or whatever, who on Milwaukee does? Chris Middleton's about to carry a team by himself to a championship?
No.
There's no way.
Okay.
Chris Middleton is not, he's a really nice player, and he's a star. But he's not a superstar. Drew Holiday, let me go back to being a star. He's a one-time all-star, and that was years ago. I mean, Brook Lopez?
Look at the numbers he put up in Games 5 and 6.
When he was a low post
26, 8, and 11 for Drew Holiday.
He's twice as big as Clint Capella.
Did you see how hard they guarded in 5 and 6? Their whole body language was different. You want to talk about tenacious D? They played it against Atlanta. They looked flat and lifeless last night.
No, they didn't. That's what sounds good.
It's a little easier. Is it not easier to guard Kevin Huerter and Cam Reddish and Bogdanovich and Danilo Gallinari
and Trae Young
and Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton?
Yep.
Trae was hurt.
He was not that hurt. He looked fine to me.
Well, how did Milwaukee look against your Nets?
How'd they look?
Yeah.
I told you it was 1-on-5. How'd Kevin Durant look? He looked like the best player on the planet to me.
Where is he?
Huh?
He had one of these with me this morning.
Yeah. Well, he's not toasting. He's not
he
celebrating.
He ain't playing basketball. So Giannis must have did something right in Game 6 and 7 because your guy had a 2-0 lead, and he had his Game 7 on his home court. So Giannis did something right.
1-on-5.
Oh, he was no 1-on-5.
My guy, he put up as virtuoso a performance in 2 games as you'll ever see. So way beyond what your guy Lagon could do.
So Chris, if I'm hearing Skip correctly, if you're hearing him correctly, it wasn't so much what the Suns did, their big three. It was what Giannis and the Bucks didn't do.
They're just a different team with him in the lineup. What's your eye test tell you? What did they look like last night?
They look like a team that got beat by a better team last night.
They look like a team that's going to get swept.
They're not getting swept.
Yeah. Well, I'm answering Chris's question. I say Phoenix in 4. How about that?
Do you want to bet that?
That's all I need to know.
And if Giannis wasn't playing, let's just for kicks and giggles. If Giannis wasn't playing, what would your pick be?
If Giannis wasn't playing, they would have won game 1.
They wasn't winning no game 1 without Giannis.
It was the classic trap game.
He was good last night.
Who?
Giannis.
He wasn't great, but he was good.
20 and 17?
I think he actually died. I think he was less aggressive because he was watching them in the 2 games without him and said, okay, the ball's moving. I see Drew getting his, Chris, Brooke, and I think he was less aggressive. His 11 shots, that's the fewest he's taken in any playoff game this season other than the game he got hurt early in the third quarter.
How about if I show you one play? Let me show you one play on which he didn't actually get a shot up. This was with 4:20 left in the game when they did have a chance to cut it all the way back to 7 points. They were down 9. If we could see what Giannis did, catches it, he dribbles it, he dribbles it, he dribbles it, he dribbles it, and Cam Johnson just takes it away from him. That's classic. That's what they do. That's who they are with Giannis in the post. Dribbling, dribbling, dribbling. Yeah, he'll put up some numbers. You look at the stat sheet, that's pretty good. They're all empty calories. They don't translate. They're not contagious.
Yeah, they didn't play well last night. It's one game. When have you known is this overreaction to Wednesday?
They shot pretty well. They outshot the Suns from the 3-point line. You're always on them about they shoot 23.
They do.
Well, they shot 44%, but 16 to 36.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
That's very good.
They
still lost.
They out-rebounded Phoenix by 4, and they still lost.
Yes.
Because there's something missing when Giannis is in the lineup. You know it not. You know I've been all over this. I first guessed it. I will last guessed it. There we go.
So if they lose, it's going to be because Giannis was in the lineup.
You got it.
Man, the man is a 2-time MVP.
Okay, do you know how many times we have talked about Giannis flameouts in the playoffs? We don't have enough show for me to go through all the flameouts. Do you remember what happened in the bubble, the first 3 games against Miami when everybody was ready to coronate Milwaukee? What happened? What were the numbers for Giannis? They were dramatically different than they were in the regular season.
So if they didn't have Giannis, they would have beat the Bucks. They would have beat the Heat.
No, I'm just saying once they get to big playoff games, they play better without him.
That's the thing is that, look, even if you want to rip Giannis because he hadn't performed well in the playoffs at times, this Bucks team is not that good without him. That's the problem. Like, they don't have a shot without him. If he were to win this championship, guess what he'd be doing in the super team era? Winning it without a super team. Winning it without a second superstar. That would be huge. This team without him is not that good. They have no shot at beating Phoenix without Giannis.
Yet they have 3 other players who have made all-star teams, correct?
Yeah, Drew
years ago, Drew years ago, Middleton, now he's made a few. Because the Bucks record is usually...
Yeah, well, last time Lopez ain't made one this decade.
Brooke Lopez blocked 4 shots a game in the last 2 games against Atlanta. He looked like Brooklyn Brook.
Skip, stop.
He's 7'1" and weighs 300 pounds.
This is why I know you was getting like 6 rebounds a game, 7 rebounds a game. He scored. He could score, but he couldn't rebound.
This man is pinning his hopes on Brooke Lopez. He says Brooke Lopez. He's talking about Brooke Lopez.
I'm saying he can guard DeAndre Ayton way better than Giannis can. He can. Just a year ago, he made 2nd team all defense and was 2nd in block shots in the NBA. Yes, he can guard him better. Giannis is way overrated as a defender. He's too light in the back end.
Well, your guy too slow.
Skip, it's not about being behind the guy as he posts up and muscling him and all that.
Yes,
that's not what happens anymore. Ayton is moving. Ayton is catching lobs when Brooke or Giannis or whoever the big is comes to stop Chris Paul. So Brooke can't do anything with that.
Oh, stop it. Every time I looked up against the Clippers, Ayton was making some move on Big Zoo, going to the baseline, shooting jump shots. Stop it.
He gonna do that on everybody.
Yeah, well, Brook Lopez would say, no, you can't do it. He's a shot blocker. He's a rim protector. Genuine.
He blocked a little 6 foot. He ain't blocking no Ayton shot.
Well, he wouldn't have gotten whatever he got last night on Brook Lopez.
He got me a martini.
Yeah.
That's what you want. That's all it's about. It's about a martini.
Oh, yeah.
He lost the bet. He's going to lose some more, too.
I'm up 35 cases, and that's just this year, this calendar year. For 5 straight years, I've won like 30 cases a year from you, and you're over there gloating?
I am.
Where's your gloat mask today? That's right. LeGone is gone.
That's all right.
Chris, we're going to finish our martinis back here. We appreciate you joining us. The finals, I know, just got started, but going to be very interesting. We'll check in with you soon.
No mercy.
LeBron James is one of the most popular athletes in the world, but it's also come with plenty of criticism. According to a recent study over the past 12 months, LeBron is the most trolled athlete in the world on Twitter by nearly 4 times the amount of anyone else. So, Shannon, how do you explain this?
Oh, Skip, what happened to those billion of witnesses? They love it. What happened, Skip?
That's about half the world.
No. This said 4 times. 4 times. Oh, whatever. I mean, they love everybody loves him. That's not what. But for me, I hate when they do these studies. Well, the study says that this group of people is discriminated. I didn't need a study. Somebody spent some good money when they could have donated that to a worthy cause. I didn't need a study to tell me what I already knew. And let me tell you why. First of all, greatness. People that are great. If you're in a professional sport or you're great, you're going to get hated on. And for what more times than not, it's by people that's never even come in contact with you. That's just the way it works. That's just a part of it.
Sure.
That's just a part of the thing. Also, it's something LeBron came along, Skip, right as the social media era was starting to kick off. And I think it's one of 2 things also. His threat to Michael Jordan. And when the social media really was starting to boom, many people believe he was as good, if not better, than their beloved Kobe. And so if you think about it, Kobe fans do not like LeBron because he was the heir apparent to the title. He was that, Kobe. And then all of a sudden, GOAT James came on the scene, and then all of a sudden, he ain't better than Kobe. He ain't got no titles. Then all of a sudden, he started winning titles. And all of a sudden, he started getting MVPs. And so I think that has something to do with it, Skip. And plus, his stance. A lot of times, Skip, if you speak out against something that I'm not in favor of, well, bro, I ain't got no time for you. So I think it's a large body. His greatness is just like anybody that said, if you're a Tom Brady fan and people say, Mahomes better, man, I hate Mahomes. Or Aaron Rodgers better. That just comes along with the territory. But I didn't need this study to tell me what I know. I'm on my Twitter. I read comments when ESPN or House Highlights or whatever post things about LeBron, and I see the comments. So I'm not surprised by this. I don't think anybody's surprised by this. You want to say, it's not that bad. But I know. I just wish that we could have had social media in the 90s. So I could have got a gauge and to see if Jordan got this kind of vitriol. We'll never know. We know Kobe got some blowback. We know all the great players that came along that was in the social media era gets that. But to the extent that LeBron gets it, it's unrivaled. It's unmatched.
Very interesting. So my first reaction was, I guess all these years that I've at least been objective about LeBron James, maybe I wasn't so alone sitting out on the end of the limb. Maybe there was like half the world out there saying, you know what? You're right. Because I think half the world sits back and hears people like you say, he's the GOAT, and they say, he's the what?
And what about people that sit back and listen to you and talk about he's not very good?
Who's not very good?
You, LeBron. Because you minimize everything you do. Everything that he does, well, you go back, he scored 72 points. But guess what? He missed 4 free throws.
No.
That's what you
it's
do.
It's not that. It's just in the big picture, the facts are the facts.
What's the big picture?
He is so debatable because you proclaim him the GOAT, and he's I'm going to be nice about this. He's a below-average three-point shooter at 35%. Well, this is the facts. These are what you gloss over. He is a pathetic free throw shooter by superstar standards at 73% for his career, and he obviously clearly runs from the late-game free throw line where he is statistically the worst star late-game free throw shooter ever.
He's pathetic at shooting the three, but he's better than Kobe and Jordan. How does that work?
Well,
so what are they?
Better than Jordan because they didn't emphasize it.
But Skip, the three-point line has been in since 1979. So there's never a year that Michael Jordan played in the NBA that the three-point line was not there.
They didn't emphasize it. Jordan won 10 scoring titles to LeBron's 1.
Let me ask you a question.
Start with that.
They didn't emphasize it. But Reggie Miller got a better three-point percentage. So did Larry Bird.
Okay, good. I'll give you that. LeBron's a great three-point shooter.
I didn't say great.
Okay, so think of all the incidents in his career. Think about all the drama in his career. Let's start with his owner in Cleveland accused him of quitting in his final playoff series, the first go-round in Cleveland against the Boston Celtics. And then members of his camp leaked to ESPN that LeBron had to be sedated for games 4, 5, and 6
so
against the Celtics.
Well,
I'm like, what? He had to be sedated?
So because, hold on. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Because his owner said that he quit.
I'm just saying, did Jordan's owner ever accuse him of quitting? Well, no, because nobody ever accused Michael Jordan of quitting.
What did Jerry Krause accuse him of?
Nothing.
Being selfish?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so he and Jerry Krause got along great. Okay, go ahead.
Well, again, he hated Krause. Krause didn't hate Michael.
Yeah, I think he did.
He did not. I was there. I covered the team. I knew Jerry Krause very well. I knew Michael very well.
Jerry Krause,
it was a one-way street.
Skip.
Krause was always asking me, why does he hate me?
Skip. Jerry Krause said it was about the organization.
No, wrong about that. Okay. So then 2011 first go round with the Miami Heat in the finals. It was the all-time superstar meltdown. Chosen one.
So that's why you hate him.
No,
that's why he hates.
I don't hate him.
No. But that's what he's saying.
Okay, but I'm just saying it's on his resume, and people are saying, "What are you talking about? The GOAT?" And then Ray Allen just saved his legacy with the greatest clutch shot I have ever seen in Game 6 of 2013.
Hold on. Okay, so a teammate doing his job, that's saving his legacy.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. Then in 2014, they get blown off the floor of the finals by a record finals margin. Right. Well, that never happened to Michael Jordan. So people are saying, Shannon, what are you talking about?
So Jordan won every game that he played? He won every playoff series he was in?
No, but he went 6-0 in the finals.
Skip, there are rounds to this. So what happened before 1991? Did they not have finals? Did they not have finals in Washington?
Then in 2015, LeBron played the greatest 3 games I've ever seen him play. He carried that team. Obviously, they had lost Kevin Love, and then they lost Kyrie in overtime in Game 1. And they're up 2-1 with Game 4 in LeBron's house. And go look at what happened. I don't know. Everybody told me he ran out of gas. He hit the wall. Oh, he spends $2 million a year on fitness. I don't know.
Go look at 1989 and 1990 against the Pistons, Michael Jordan, and tell me what happened to him.
Okay, well.
But see, you don't want to talk about that, Skip. They're there.
Well, I'm just showing you these are so debatable, these outcomes where, remember what happened for Game 1 in 2018 at Oracle? He has the game of his life, and then you know what happened? He turns down the last shot.
What about Kevin Durant? Had the game of his life.
We're talking about
exactly, because that's what you try to do.
This topic is about LeBron. We talk about Kevin all the time.
No.
And I don't bring up LeBron, but I'm just saying he pouted and he sat over there on the side away from his team and he quit. And then we saw him
quit. So did Kevin Durant quit in Game 7? In the overtime game, did he quit?
We're not talking about
But I'm saying, no. He's a superstar. You said he quit. You said LeBron James quit.
He actually distanced himself from his team, and then he refused to shoot for the first 2.5 minutes of overtime, and they fell behind by 5, and then they lost.
But see what 10. You did? You talking about Kevin Durant played a historic game. He missed all of his shots. He went 0 for air ball to 3. So what was that? Did he quit on his team?
In overtime.
Did he quit? That was overtime that LeBron James you're talking about. So did Kevin Durant quit?
Was he shooting?
Did he quit?
Heck no.
Okay then. So why did LeBron quit?
His guts out.
What?
Okay.
So 51-8 did not play his guts out.
How about Game 5 of that ill-fated first-round series this year against Phoenix?
You see what you
do? Well, what happened? LeBron, they're losing by 30, and he's sitting there, and there's 4.5 minutes left, and he says, you know what? I don't want to associate with you guys. I'm going to walk up the tunnel and leave you guys behind and go to the locker room. It's just debatable.
This is what you do.
It's drama king. It's who he is.
This is what you do.
It's why that happens on Twitter.
This is what you do.
I don't do anything. LeBron's done all this. I couldn't stop any of this.
You take a great person and you take moments in his life. Well, it's like if I take a great ordinary citizen and I say, well, you got a speeding ticket. Well, I say you flunked the class in 8th grade. What you do is that you take moments out to try to minimize the man's greatness.
He's not just some guy in the 8th grade. He's LeBron James.
I'm saying, Skip.
You have proclaimed him the GOAT.
Skip,
you have proclaimed him.
Skip,
You say he's the best player on the planet and the GOAT.
I say
and half of Twitter is saying, you're out of your mind. There's too much on here.
I'm saying what you do is you nitpick to try to minimize his greatness.
These are mountain-sized nits that I'm picking.
18 years, 10 finals. 4 finals MVP.
Yeah, he's all-time great. There's no doubt about that.
But you've never done this to any other all-time great player nitpick like this.
Well, I have to.
Why not? No, you have. Name one. Name one all-time great player you nitpick like LeBron James.
Well, he's not that all-time great. That's the problem. Are these things not?
That's laughable. That's laughable.
Are these not facts that I just spat at you?
For you to say
you
LeBron,
just sweep them all under your carpet.
For you to say LeBron James is not all-time great is laughable. That is the most ridiculous thing that you say.
Well, he's not that all-time. He's not the GOAT. He's not even in the class.
No, you said he was. No. Don't change it now. You said he wasn't all-time great.
Well, he's not better than Kobe, and he's definitely not even in the same stratosphere with Michael Jordan. Well, he's just not. Everybody knows that. That's why this causes such a stir on Twitter.
No, everybody does not know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just facts. I can just keep going and going.
Because here's the facts. The facts is that you disregard everything. Now, see, when I say LeBron James has won MVPs and won Finals MVPs, you said this. But I'm just trying to figure how do you differentiate? If one guy is undefeated in Super Bowls, you say that doesn't matter because the other guy has been to more. See, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's 7-3, not Joe Montana that's 4-0. Well, Jordan is the GOAT because he's 6-0, not because LeBron has gone to 10. I'm just trying to figure out how do you differentiate? I thought losses count.
Okay.
Do they or do they not?
Okay, well, you have to evaluate even the victories. Because last year they go to the bubble, and nobody wants to be in the bubble except LeBron and the Lakers.
So why did they go?
So many teams wanted to go home.
So why did they go?
And they wind up playing the fifth seed for the championship. Again. And the 5th seed has lost its leading playoff scorer in Dragic, and it loses in game 1 its heart and soul in Bam. And you're over there gloating about, we got this. And I'm saying, well, that's cubic zirconia.
Everything that LeBron does, you try to find a way to minimize it.
It's big facts.
He won his first title. You said it was a strike-shortened season. But Tim Duncan won his first one in a strike-shortened season. And you never mentioned it.
I've said it 1,000 times on this show. I'd be the first to say it. It was, there's a big asterisk on that championship.
Everything that LeBron has done, you find, well, this guy got hurt, or that guy got hurt, or they played here, or they played there. It wasn't like LeBron was the only one playing in the bubble. The other teams played there also.
If you go back and check what I said on television after the first 3 games of the 2015 finals against the Golden State Warriors,
they lost.
Go look at what I said. I've never seen anything better. This is some of the greatest basketball that's ever been played.
There have been a lot of guys that's played great that's ended up losing. So how does LeBron playing great and losing diminishes him when other guys that have played great and lost, it accentuates them? Think about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played those years that he didn't make the finals, he played great. It elevated him. LeBron James is the only guy that can play great and it lowers him. Everybody else play great, so it elevates him. How? Why?
Because he's got game 4 in his house against the team that he has on the run. And in game 4, they put Iguodala in the lineup, and all of a sudden, LeBron shoots 7 of 22, and he shoots 1 of 5 from 3, and he shoots 5 of 10 from the free throw line. And I'm saying, what was that?
And
they lost by 22.
One game.
And Iguodala becomes the MVP of the finals? That's just wrong.
So, okay, what about game 7? He averaged a triple-double, and then he come back from 3-1. What about games 5 and 6? He averaged 41. You don't talk about the great stuff. What about the great stuff?
I do. He was really great in game 7.
But you know what you did? You said Draymond got suspended.
That changed the series.
See what you did? You minimize him every chance you get.
Well, their guts and glue player got suspended for game 5, and it turned the whole series around.
Did you say that?
Have you ever in your life seen a starting player, a star player, a defensive player of the year, someone of that quality get suspended for a finals game? This never happened before, and it'll probably never happen again.
Hold on. Well, they suspended Amari Stoudemire for coming off the bench.
But it wasn't in the finals.
But it was They ended up losing the series.
Okay, but I'm just saying, in the middle of the finals, they did that.
Okay.
Kiki Vandeweghe said, that's enough, because he called your guy the B word.
Let me ask you a question.
Called him the B word. Did Michael Jordan ever get called the B word by anybody? Who would have dared to do that?
Let me ask you a question. Had they warned, did Draymond have a history of doing this?
Sure.
Okay, then.
Yeah. And he kicked him in the midsection.
But I'm just trying to figure out, how is it that you try to fight everything that he does, you go back to a second where he missed a free throw, where he missed a three?
You know, if he had gone 6-0 in the finals with 6 MVPs, what would I have to say?
Skip,
I couldn't say anything.
He's gone to 10.
You can't nitpick 6-0 with 6 MVPs.
Skip,
you can't. There's nothing you can say. What was wrong?
If you play 15 years, why you only get to 6?
To 6.
If you only get to 6, you play 15 years. What happened the other 9 years? Did they not play finals?
No, but the East was the East.
You see what you did, Skip?
Yeah.
Every time you say something about Michael,
it's
the East, it's the East. But all you do is minimize him. Skip, at some point in time, you got to get a man credit.
We're going to have to agree to disagree.
I give him a lot of credit.
No, you don't.
James around here.
No mercy.
Saturday, Aaron Judge and the Yankees take on Jose Altuve and the Astros, or rivals collide at Wrigley. And the Cardinals face the Cubs, where the NL Central leading Brewers battle the Reds Saturday, 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check local listings for the game in your area this weekend. So the Lakers were trending on social media last night despite not being in the finals. Free agent Andre Drummond seemed to complain about playing time, implying in a comment that he wasn't a dominant big man because of playing time. And meanwhile, Kyle Kuzma made his own social media comment saying, quote, soon, on a highlight of him dropping 41 points in 2019. Reports also came out that Kuzma could be involved in a Lakers trade soon. A lot of moving parts here. Shannon, which of these two would you want the Lakers to keep?
Drummond. Andre Drummond. And the thing is, Skip, is that people need to understand, it's harder for a big man to get integrated being traded midway through the season or being brought on through the season as opposed to a guy with the ball in his hand. Because look at it took James Harden nothing to get integrated because James Harden had the ball in his hand. Now, you're not asking. Andre Drummond is not going to be Nikola Jokic, not going to be Joel Embiid. Now, he can be close to that on a bad team. But on a good team, you don't need him. Because, Skip, I've seen Andre Drummond go get 30-20. I've seen him have multiple 20-20 ball games. But that's not what he needed to do on the Lakers. But you know what I noticed? Kyle Kuzma, a trainer, ain't been doing no talking. That guy that he trained Kawhi, he ain't been doing no talking lately. Why he ain't talking? He has so much to say the last 2 years. Ain't heard a peep. But anyway, give me Drummond. Because I believe Drummond, and Skip, I didn't first guess this. I believe he should have got more time. Drummond can give you 12, 14 points, 10, 12 rebounds on a nightly basis, given the role. He's not going to be what he was in Cleveland. Skip, if I'm not mistaken, he was averaging like 16, 17 rebounds in Cleveland, 17, 18 points. But he wasn't going to get those kinds of opportunities playing with LeBron, playing with Anthony Davis. So to answer Jenny's question, which one? Man, y'all better stop playing with me. I told y'all what I do. Hell, right now I trade Kyle Kuzma for Keisha Cole's number. I'm just playing, but I'm just saying, Kyle Kuzma can go.
So I'll give you this. You did first guess all of the above.
Yes.
And so did I. And I'm going to hark back to a quote that I saw back. It's from February.
Okay.
From an NBA advanced scout about Drummond before the Lakers had decided to acquire him. Quote, he can get you to your numbers. He can get you 30 and 20 and have no impact on the game.
Right.
That's that guy, the guy I call the big penguin. That's the guy who can be a ball stopper and a lane clogger and doesn't make you that much, if any, better.
Right.
So the point is that I saw a lot of memes last night on Twitter as he trended all afternoon into the night. Because he had said, he's basically just saying, give me more playing time and I'll show you.
Right.
I can be what you see in Ayton. I can be in what you see in Brook Lopez. I can be that guy.
I believe he can.
Yeah, okay. You do, I don't. I think that would be nothing but detrimental to LeBron and company going forward. But the memes I saw on Twitter were people laughing at him because they'd say, when he looks in the mirror, he sees this. And they would show video of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right.
What did I nickname him? Kareem Abdul-Drummond.
Right.
Because Jeannie sort of embraced him, put her arm around him when he first arrived, and compared it to when her father landed Kareem from Milwaukee and brought him to L.A. And it changed life, obviously. And it took a little while to change. Actually, Magic changed life.
Correct.
With Magic plus Kareem.
But he did win some MVPs, even though they weren't winning. They weren't getting to the finals.
But the point was, maybe delusionally that Kareem Abdul-Drummond sees himself as a Kareem-like figure, but he needs more playing time. That's what he said.
I believe if he gets more playing. See, the thing was, Skip, when he got there, LeBron or AD, and I told you, Skip, this tells me nothing. Because, first of all, they don't have anybody that knows how to play with a big guy. Dennis Schroeder has this illusion. That's what they should have done to Schroeder. Because Schroeder sees himself as a CP3.
He does.
He sees himself as this elite.
Beyond that.
Yes. He sees himself as an elite level point guard.
Like a two-guard point guard.
Yes.
Like a shoot-first point guard.
Right.
Yes.
And he's not that. But I believe if you gave Drummond on a consistent nightly basis, says you're going to get somewhere between, say, 25 and 28 minutes a night, I believe he'll give you a double-double. Now, it's going to be hard for you to get 30 points and 20 rebounds in that little time. Yeah. But I believe he can give you 14 and 12, 12 and 14 on a nightly basis. Given that you have AD, given that he can run. Skip, he's pretty close to 300 pounds, too. Yep. He's a big man. Mm-hmm. He's solid. So he can get up and down the court. And I think the thing is that LeBron understands is that when you got a big guy, Skip, and this is what Chris Paul and those guys do a great job of, they reward Ayton for playing hard on both ends. So what they do, they'll give him the ball, dump it down to him, and let him shoot a baby hook or turnaround jumper. He'll run the floor, they'll get it to him, and he gets an easy layup or a dunk. That's what you got to do with Drummond. LeBron understands that. The other guys, Skip, you know what you call him. Kyle Kuzma can't even feed the birds in the park, let alone feed a big guy down in the post. So for me, hold on, he's still on the team. They ain't traded him yet. Rob, what you waiting on?
You know what they're waiting on? They know what I know, and that is I'm going to go on record one more time about Kyle Kuzma. If you let him go, he will come back to haunt you.
He can be a good player on a bad team. He's not going to be what they think he can be on a good team because his basketball IQ is not what it needs to be. I've seen enough. You cannot be a great player with a low basketball IQ. It's impossible.
He is a fearless shooter. He will take and make big shots.
He'll take and take dumb shots.
And he showed you this year, he tried to swallow all his pride for LeBron's sake and do windows, do the dirty work. He rebounded like a fiend this year. You know it not. He had a bunch of double-digit rebounds.
So you believe he'll go somewhere to make an all-star team like Brandon Ingram?
I think he's
not Brandon Ingram. He's not skilled. He's not skilled like Brandon Ingram.
For some reason, they shut him out. He wanted to be the third wheel, and they just shut him out.
They want you to show.
Yeah.
You just don't get anointed that. You have to show.
And instead, he would show up with new hair every night.
Exactly.
It'd be a different color, and they'd say, this guy died.
He's trying to stand out. That's what he's known for, his care and clothes, those clothes he be wearing. What about your game? Yeah, Russ can come in there with a construction worker's vest on and hard hat. Russ' game speaks for itself. You trying to get attention for everything other than your game.
I got it.
All right.
No mercy.
Giannis gave it a go last night for the first time since hurting his knee in the Eastern Conference Finals. It didn't help Milwaukee, however, in the 118-105 loss to the Suns last night. So, Skip, you said that the Bucks play better they play better playoff-style basketball without Giannis. So did last night make you believe that more than ever?
I still believe they would have won last night, stolen that game, taken Phoenix by surprise without Giannis. And they would end up losing in 7 without Giannis. This way, they're going to lose in 4. Let me count the ways. Let's look at Giannis's quickly, his playoff resume. 2015, he's just a baby, but they make the playoffs and they lose to the Bulls in 6. Average margin of defeat was 21 points. Then 2016, they missed the plus. 2017, he makes the All-Star team. They lose to the Raptors in the first round by an average margin of defeat of 11 points. Then 2018, he makes the All-Star team again. They lose to the Celtics in 7 games, average margin of defeat by 10 points. So when he loses, they just flame out and lose badly. Then 2019, he wins the MVP. They win a couple of games against the Raptors in the conference finals. And what happens? They lose 4 straight games to the Raptors, and his numbers plummet. He shot 44% during the season. He shot 58% from the floor. And then from the free throw line, he shoots 47% in 4 straight losses to the Raptors. During the year, he shot 73%. He is a regular season wonder who does not have playoff big picture intangibles. What happened in the bubble last year? They steamroll the Magic in the first round, and then they run into the hot Heat in the second round. They lose the first 3 games, and Giannis is nowhere to be found. Shoots only 45% from the floor and 54% from the free throw line. It's not good enough if you're that guy, that superstar, with the kind of intangibles that can lift a team to a championship. I just don't see it. Obviously, on paper, they're not better without Giannis, but the eye test tells me that in those 2 games, 5 and 6 against Atlanta, they just look like a completely different basketball team. And I gave you earlier these stats, and I'm going to throw them back at you one more time. Chris Middleton against the against the Hawks in games 5 and 6, he averaged 29, 9, and 8, almost a triple-double. In those 2 games against the Hawks, Holiday, 26, 8, and 11, almost a triple-double. Brook Lopez averaged 23 and 4 blocks in those 2 games against the Hawks. They're different. They play defense harder and smarter and better without Giannis. Offense, the ball moves, and they have some flow to their offense where all of a sudden the guards are empowered, emboldened, free to shoot their shots, and they look different. They're harder to guard without Giannis. It's easy to build the wall against Giannis and take him out of the games, as we saw the Suns do last night.
Skip, I will agree. Yes, they play different, but what team does not play different with their best player?
Well, what team plays a little better without their best player?
Well, you can make
nobody.
You can make that argument that the Clippers played a little better without Kawhi. Did they not win 2 games against Utah?
Well, I did tell you they were the deepest team in pro basketball.
No, they're not the deepest team.
Yeah.
But so why were they able to win without Kawhi?
Well, they didn't win without Kawhi.
They beat Utah.
Well, but you told me that they would be in the finals with Kawhi.
No, Skip. No, you can't have it both ways. So in other words, you saying they played better without Giannis. Well, you can make a case that the Clippers played better. They beat Utah twice. Okay. They had Kawhi. They lost twice with Kawhi on the court. They didn't lose another game against Utah with Kawhi off the court. So why is that?
We're talking about Giannis right now. We're not talking about the Clippers. But that's apples to oranges.
No, it's not, Skip.
Yes, it is.
The thing is, the Clippers weren't better without Kawhi, and the Bucks are not better without Giannis. They play a different. You ask guys to do different.
Kawhi Leonard is much better than Giannis. He does have some intangibles. He's not a close the game guy. He's not a last shot taker, but he is a big shot maker during the game in ways Kawhi never thought. Giannis never thought about being.
Even though that's something that you judge another guy. We just had a topic about a guy that wasn't great in clutch, and he's not a closer. The thing that you said Kawhi, but you say he's okay with you, but you're okay with that.
Well, I'm just saying I'll take him over Giannis any day or night, because does he not have 2 Finals MVPs?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Skip, look, Giannis gets a lot of criticism, but there have been other players that their postseason numbers didn't match the regular season success until they had success. You want everybody just instantaneous. The first round to get to the first time to get to the playoffs, go all the way through. Other than Magic, who's done that?
Okay, I just gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I gave you 6 years of playoffs, and I showed you flame out after flame out after flame out.
I know a guy that went 7 years and had flame out after flame out after flame out after flame out.
So now we're comparing Giannis to Michael Jordan?
Skip. If he was what you said he was in the regular season, he was averaging 32. He was winning MVPs. Why didn't that translate in the playoffs?
Who, Jordan?
Yes!
Well, it finally did. Did it translate last night?
Hold on.
Did Phoenix even make a whimper last night? Did Milwaukee even threaten Phoenix last night?
Is Giannis' career over?
No,
Okay.
obviously.
Okay, then.
Do you think he's going to win multiple championships? I don't.
Who's to say that he... Did you think Chris Paul went 16 years before he got here?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it might take him...
His problem was always he's 6 feet tall.
Okay.
That's it. He can only take you so far. This guy's 6'11".
He's 6'11", but you still need help. You still need guys around you. And he's going to need Middleton to play better. He's going to need Holiday to play better. You can't expect... Everybody says the superstar. But the superstar needs to... And Giannis has had some monster games in which they've lost.
Does he have killer in him? Does he have that quality? Does he have that thing that separates superstars from stars? I don't see it. I've been consistent. I'm not just second guessing off last night. I've been saying this for years on this show. I don't see it.
You do realize black mamas are not the only snakes that eat. Pythons eat too.
Well,
rat snake, corn snakes, they eat too.
So
are they as deadly as the black mamba? They eat though, right?
So are we going to start nicknaming Giannis the Python?
No.
I don't know.
There you go.
But one more question here about Giannis. I got another thing to bring up.
No mercy.
July 13th, Judge Tatis Ohtani and baseball's finest face off in a mile-high midsummer slugfest from Coors Field in Denver. It's the 2021 MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. July 13th on Fox. We're getting close. Well, Giannis wasn't able to get the Bucks a win last night, but he did make the highlight reel with this chase down block. People were quick to point out just how similar it looks to LeBron's infamous Game 7 Finals block. Shannon, how did this compare to LeBron?
Yeah.
Really scared.
What did you see?
Yeah, I saw nothing. This is not even close. This had no impact on the ball game. This happened in the first half. He wasn't. I mean, LeBron almost hit his head on the rim. Really, Skip. I mean, you want to diminish LeBron that much? You gonna put this?
No, I'm not trying to diminish LeBron. I'm trying to put this in the same perspective because this is the same overrated song second verse. It's an identical block in the way it unfolded.
Game 1, Game 7?
See it again? No. Guess what? Chris Middleton plays the role of J.R. Smith and cuts him off at the pass.
Giannis actually fouled a guy. He hit him and
cuts him off at the pass so that Giannis could catch up and chase down and sneak attack and pull off the block.
That's a foul.
Okay, so here's
Look
the
at LeBron. LeBron never touched
the
Iggy.
same thing.
LeBron never touched Iggy.
And guess what? J.R. Smith cut him off at the pass.
Look at this.
He made Iguodala decide, I can't just dunk this, or it would have been an and one on LeBron.
He never got
and
it
at the
up.
last second, Iguodala has to say, I got to sort of double clutch and pump, and then go up and just shoot a layup. And it's the same thing. Middleton played the role of J.R. Smith. It's a carbon copy.
Actually, it's not. One has happened in the first half of Game 1. The other happened with like 3 minutes left in Game 7.
I'm just putting them in a vacuum.
No.
They're
We
the
don't
very
get in a
same
vacuum.
block.
No.
Yep.
We don't do vacuums. No.
Yep.
Don't do the vacuum, Skip. You and I both know the difference, the significance. So in other words, any block now. So any block now is the equivalent. Look what LeBron hit. Look at LeBron. Look at LeBron. Come on, Skip. That's not even comparable. Man, come on. Don't minimize the man like that. The greatest block
in the most overrated block in NBA history because it was a bicycle built for two.
And it wasn't that.
J.R. Smith gets a big assist because he was the one who undercut Iguodala and made him change on the fly.
Look at Iggy. Talk about foul. Ain't nowhere near LeBron. He called it foul, crying. Want to get a...
Iggy had to double pump so much he got too deep into the glass and was going to have to shoot it straight up.
No,
LeBron was so lucky that if JR hadn't been there in the beginning, it would have been a foul and one.
No, it wouldn't. He'd have never got it up. Skip, this is not, look, I understand it was a block. They're both blocks. But in this situation, two things cannot be true.
Okay. What role did Chris Middleton play last night for Giannis? What does it look like to you? What happened?
It's the significance. It's the moment.
Okay, I give you the moment, but I'm doing him in a vacuum because it was shockingly similar, eerily similar to the LeBron, where if you see it again, it's Chris Middleton who makes the play.
Let me ask you a question. which was more important? The interception that they picked off Tom Brady against Seattle in the second quarter that Tom Brady threw, or the one Malcolm Butler had in the fourth quarter? Which one was the great? It's an interception. It's identical. Interception. That's what you told me. You told me two things. So which was more important? Which had the greater value?
Well, obviously LeBron's did. But obviously LeBron's happened because of J.R. Smith, just the way that happened, and was completely overrated on the internet because of Chris Middleton.
No, Skip.
He got there first.
No.
He made Mikal Bridges change direction and rethink his path to the rim.
Look where LeBron is blocking this ball.
Yep.
LeBron went up to block it on the left side if he tried to up and under, and the right side, and he caught it. And he was about to hit his head. Look at where LeBron is blocking the ball at, and look where Giannis blocked it.
No mercy. Aaron Rodgers and Bryson DeChambeau took down Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson during the match yesterday. Rodgers clinched the win with a birdie putt on the 16th hole. And Shannon, you picked Brady and Mickelson to win yesterday. I had forgotten about that. I told you to celebrate. I was wrong. How surprised were you that Rodgers and Bryson won?
I'm very surprised. Skip, the best player on the course yesterday, regardless of the level, was Aaron Rodgers.
Really?
He was the best.
I must have watched a different.
You didn't? No, you didn't.
The best player on the course was Bryson DeChambeau.
No, they did not. They used Aaron Rodgers' ball as many times, and he made the cut.
Kidding?
Yeah. Well, they must be showing something else.
I watched every shot.
Well, who made all those birdie putts? Who made all those birdie putts?
Who hit the shot of the day? Tom Brady did a 392-yard drive to within 10 feet for an eagle putt on a par 4. I'll take that.
Hold on. Aaron Rodgers hit a 423-yard drive.
Yeah, he did on a 770-yard hole downhill.
Yeah. Where'd your guy hit
with
it?
No altitude.
Where did your guy hit it?
Well,
Bozeman, Montana.
My guy had a big problem with his partner who played like he was 51 years old. He was hitting it all over the lot. He was hitting them to the Bears and the Coyotes all day long.
You know what, Skip Bayless? This reminds me of Tom Brady's football career. Because when Tom Brady doesn't play well, you blame the coach.
Really?
Or you blame the defense. And it is again, right on cue.
Well, you told me I'm taking Phil.
I'm taking Phil, yeah.
And Phil took it to the house, man.
Well, how about your guy? Could your guy put it in the fairway? Could your guy make some putts?
My guy made several clutch putts in the first.
Not more than Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he made one at the end. And guess what? Aaron Rodgers finally beat Tom Brady at something.
He hit that tire on him. He was putting that thing and chasing it down. He was walking in the hole.
Blaming Phil?
Walking in there.
I can't believe that. Skip Shannon, great stuff today. Undisputed is back at the same time tomorrow morning. No more drinks tomorrow. Herd's on now. Have a good one.